So I saw a very interesting video from Zero Volt, and she was talking about a story concerning Anelam daughter, who is a radio host, and she had just gone to launch a school that she and a foundation have built up or something like that, and she was kind of like saying, you know what, I remember that they had mentioned the date, but I then had this question, wait a minute, is Mandela Day in South Africa no longer a thing? And so I wanted you guys to know where the inspiration for this video came from. It came from when she said that, and that's where this video came in place. Now I want to use this video not for the politics of it. I want to use this video for the aspect of what happens when teaching goes wrong. I want to highlight that with this. And this takes us to about 3-4 years back, or 5 years actually, if I'm being accurate, when the documentary of Winnie Mandela came out. It was a documentary that came out particularly about that question that she was asking: is Mandela Day no longer a thing? You know, like, has it been wiped out of our minds? You know, even I wasn't thinking of it. And it brought about what happens when teaching goes destructive. And that's where this video comes from. So when the documentary came out, it was weaponized. There was a propaganda behind it to weaponize it and push some type of an ideology that I can't exactly get what we were supposed to get out of it. Now, when we look back, what were we supposed to get out of what the whole agenda was? Because it was, you know what, the ANC did this, but they didn't do enough, right? Okay, we are clear on that. Then we can then take these steps and move it forward, right? But no, that was not enough. It wasn't that the ANC during the period of the 1994 elections, when Mandela won and all that, and he became president, it was not enough that they did that. It sought to destroy the legacy of that period. Now, they did what they did. We are here now. We can do what we are here. That was not the goal, if you look at it. It was not the goal. The goal was, hey, Desmond Tutu, if you remember, go back, watch the videos back then, okay? Before those who are very much political. We're gonna take a lesson from it, because we are Bible people. We know how this story ends. You know, it ends with the Antichrist coming and taking over all the systems that they are building. That's it. It's pretty. That's me wrapping it up in 10 seconds for you. And so, how are we getting there? Look at how they weaponized it. The EFF, for example, as a matter of fact, they were the key pillar of it. Even Julia's statement at Winnie Mandela's funeral was kind of like very key, because that's all he was saying, you know. May she block all those people who were what? If you remember, it was a thing. It trended for some time. Now, when teaching goes bad, so what happened by that period is that it destroyed the legacy of whatever they'd done, right? Okay, we were clear, apartheid bad, okay? We got rid of apartheid. Bantu education, bad, we got rid of Bantu education. But then in the process of getting rid of these things, we are now getting into a place where there's a crisis in the identity, either of the black child or of Africa, where even whites that are born in South Africa are not South African, according to the way the narrative has been going from a political point. We're not there. But in the process of that, we forget the unity of the unity that we've come to. We forget the fights we've gone through. all the periods, during that period, there was the documentary. When the documentary came out, it became about these people did bad. This makes this entire movement useless. It made 1994 useless. And so as a result, people lost the identity of what freedom feels like. And they fell into this limbo of self-description or describe where you are. Now, personally, I might not like the whole thing of the Knights of Malta that Mandela was part of and all that kind of jazz, right? But at the same time, I acknowledge the role that they played in us getting here, right? Of course, there's all these people that live outside. There's this balungu. Here's what I call them. Not white people. We have white people in South Africa. Yeah? But then there's this balungu who are outside South Africa who keep peddling a certain narrative about South Africa. I don't even watch those people. Like completely, they're completely delusional. They're peddling their own thing. So we are clear about that. We are clear about the agenda to taint the legacy of our freedom. That's the one thing that we know, okay? We don't know the politics, okay? Because it's going to be up and down. Today you are this one, tomorrow you are this one. But the one thing for sure is what happens when you teach people badly. Because people have been taught the bad. Because people took out of that documentary, people took that for the evil lesson. They took an evil lesson out of it. And everything that was achieved through that freedom became sacrilege. It became taboo. There was an entire week. If you can remember the release of that documentary, go read the tweets. Just put the hashtag. Put the hashtag. Go back and read the tweets that were coming out. Mandela nothing. Mandela did nothing. Mandela what? All this. So because of that conditioning that people went through, EFF championing them, because of that, it has led to a point where the values of our freedom mean nothing. And as a result of the values of our freedom meaning nothing, this is why people go out there, ban malls. After that, this is why a few years later, people can ban their malls. Why? Because what are we valuing here? Oh yeah, Zuma is in jail. Oh yeah, we're gonna taint the whole. We're gonna burn the whole country because one person. Yeah, that's what it becomes. Why? Because we have no values anymore of our freedom. And so that video that Zero Volt made, even though it was about something, that question that she phrased brought this thought to me. Is that when you badly teach people, it affects them to a point where the things that they hold of value, they discard. I'm not talking about the politics. Bear in mind, I'm not talking about the politics. So whether EFF will do better, whether ANC do that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about me and you have this freedom. We share in this freedom. And where does that come from? That comes from that entire fight, and then all the way to 1994. Those elections are held, and then we are here. Me and you share in that freedom. When we start to devalue that position of us getting away from the Bantu education and all of that bad that came before 1994, if we start to devalue that, right? We start to devalue what it means that me and you can choose what career line we're going. We can choose what city we want to reside. We can choose where to go when we don't want to go, when we should. We can choose all these things. When me and you lose that, that's what happened with that documentary. When that documentary came out, what did it do? It twisted people's value for that freedom. People discarded it. So now we are in limbo mode. Anything goes. Why? Because people were taught bad. And I thought, let's have that conversation that Zero Vote was asking. Why is Mandela Day no longer a thing? It's because people have been taught badly. There was a certain route that was taken and people were given values of, they don't know which values do they hold. So think about it within our line of subject, doctrine and so forth. Think about what happens when you teach people to devalue the cross. What happens when you tell people to look at the cross in a certain way? Now, that's the subject that we are kind of like rekindling right now, the subject of salvation on the main channel. Is Mandela Day still a thing? Why? If you look back, we can track it back all the way to, when was it, 2017 or whatever, 18, whatever, when they had that documentary and people tore off themselves from that legacy. It started to mean nothing. For me, that's where I track it from. Maybe you have a different reference. It's Ricky. Just wanted to bring it up. You guys tell me what you think. There is a danger when you tear people off from their freedoms and you attach them to nothing. Because then what ends up happening is that everything that has happened after comes from that.